Hi there, and welcome to Chimp Chat, a podcast aimed at helping you get the very best from your MailChimp account. Brought to you by those clever chimps at Chimp Answers, a MailChimp Pro partner. MailChimp email marketing is just what we do. Hey everybody, and welcome back to another in our fantastic series of interviews with the MailChimp Masters, as I'm calling them. Today I'm joined by the delightful Emily Ryan from Westfield Creative. Emily's based over in Chicago, Illinois. I say over there. If you're listening in America, then it's not over there. It's just where you are, as it were. So, and Emily, like myself, is a MailChimp Pro partner. So Emily, tell us a little bit about the business and kind of like the type of things that you do for people.
Yeah, thank you, Robin, for having me. And yes, hello from outside of Chicago. Beautiful day here. So I own a email marketing. We call it a micro agency because we're very small. There are three of us, and we focus on Mailchimp email marketing, solely on Mailchimp. We used to build websites. We used to do social media and Facebook ads, and we realized over time that our clients were seeing the most return from email, and we love MailChimp and being a partner. And so we're like, let's just niche down and see what happens. We've been doing just MailChimp for years. We do a lot of like weekly management of emails for clients, a lot of e-commerce brands. We have quite a few beverage brands at the moment. So each week we will create their emails and test them and send them out and look at the data and then do it again next week. And so our clients kind of pay us to kind of handle their emails for them, design it and everything.
And
And
this is
that's what
the
we do.
this is the thing I love about all of our conversations, kind of like, is the fact that that's not what we do. I'm not saying we
Yeah.
don't want to do it in the future, but we are both specialist MailChimp agencies. We only do things in MailChimp. And yet everything you've just listed is something that we don't do. And probably if I listed all the things we do, you might say, and this is when people say, oh, how can you be so specialist in MailChimp? Well, we are both examples of not just being special in MailChimp, but offering a particular type of MailChimp service. So,
There is so much you can do within the platform, and that's what I have found so cool about the partner program is I'll get a lead and it will be someone looking for a very complex automation, or can you help me organize my contacts and create segments? And I'm like, we do that, but we don't specialize in that. But I know a lot of people who do. So it's kind of cool to know that there are many different parts of the platform.
yeah, couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. I'm sure we'll go into a little bit more about the partner program later on, because I know you and I kind of like, well, you got me out of a hole a couple of months ago with a potential client, which is a great example of how, if you are listening to this and you are someone, I always say that there are two types of people who are going to be listening to this: people who use MailChimp for their own business, and people who use MailChimp to help other businesses. And if you're in that second category as an agency, as a freelancer or a contractor, then yeah, kind of like we might dip into it later on and just wax lyrically about how great the MailChimp partner program actually is and what we've been able to do with it together. So, but in terms of specifics, obviously the reason we're chatting today is that you're one of our featured speakers at Chimposium on the 7th and 8th of October. We're both really excited about it, really looking forward to it. And your area of your discipline, as it were, on the day is email design. Now, without giving too much away, because we'll touch on it a little bit later, just want to kind of like give a top line of what you're going to be talking about on the day.
Yeah. So I've started focusing more on the design aspect of creating emails, because most of the clients that come to us say, I have this newsletter, but it's not like doing anything. It's not, people aren't clicking. And so we often look at the design of the email, like, okay, where are your buttons? Why are your links not the correct color? Is your font size too small? Like, there are some little things that you can easily change that will drastically increase your click rates and your engagement in your email. So I love talking about email design, and I'm actually obsessed with just like looking at my own inbox and looking at companies and really looking at their emails and saying, what are they doing? Like, is this email just one big graphic, or what colors are people using right now? So it's actually going to be a really fun presentation. We're going to talk about what makes a great email, like what kind of layout. And the funny thing is, it's really simple.
Yeah.
Email design does not have to be complicated, and that's what I always talk about with clients. Like, uncomplicate your emails. You don't have to have 8 sections of content. Like, let's really remove all the fluff and focus on that main call to action and create a great email that people want to look at. So that is what I'm excited to talk about.
I'm excited to listen. I think this is again the other thing as when we started pulling this event together, it was all about who can we get to attend and who can we speak and whatever. And now we've all get set up. I've spoken to so many speakers going, yeah, but I'm just really happy to listen to the other speakers as well to see what they're going to be talking
It,
about.
totally.
So yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to your section. That's really, really, it's really interesting because I don't come from a design background, although I understand the importance of design as part of the overall elements, as it were. But it's not something I'm particularly strong at. I've got my own opinions, but this is one of the things I'm really curious. Like when I was speaking to Alessandro Farabagoli yesterday for another podcast episode, she does automation and I do a lot of automation. And I'm just fascinated to see how she approaches it compared to me and to go, well, I never thought of that. And I'm sure I'll have exactly the same thoughts with you. And I'm sure anyone listening will as too. So that's going to be
And
very
what's
exciting.
interesting is I don't have a design background either. I was a theater nerd. I was a singer and dancer. I lived in New York for many years. I was always very skilled with computers, but I never had an official design background. But I kind of taught myself over the years. I did work. Some of my first clients were branding designers, so I learned a lot from them. But the thing I want to teach people is, like, you don't have to be a graphic designer to create a beautiful email or to create a great email. I mean, there are programs like Canva that make it so stupidly easy for you to create a great email.
Definitely. Definitely. So we'll talk, like I said, we've already got way into it, and I'm thinking, well, we need to leave
Yeah.
something later. We're going to need to give people a little bit more later on. So
Yes.
that's great. Okay. So the one thing we always like to talk about here to start off with is because this is a kind of a Mailchimp focused podcast. We're all very pro Mailchimp in terms of it. So do you want to just talk about when did you start using Mailchimp? How did Mailchimp kind of like become your weapon of choice, as it were?
Yeah, I actually love this story. So I was working for a startup in New York City, and there were very few of us, and we were all wearing many hats. So I was like the office manager, but I was also doing marketing, and I was also like doing logistics, like so many jobs. And one day, the CEO of the company was like, we really, really need to like email all of our potential donors. We were a nonprofit startup, and that's when I was like, oh, I think I've heard of this, like Mailchimp or something. And I think that's what happens with so many people. They're like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
Mailchimp, the name, brilliant. Because that's somehow I had heard of it. Maybe I saw one of their billboards. If you've never seen the Mailchimp billboards, you should Google Mailchimp billboards because they're amazing. Um, but I literally signed up for an account and I was like, okay, I'm gonna like create an email. And we sent out an email, which was so fun for me to kind of create and stuff. And we got this huge kind of one of our donors donated a huge amount of money based on, I mean, it was a process, but based on that initial email that I had sent. And I was so proud of myself because, here I am able to tell the CEO, like, that was the email I created. And we got a lot of money from that. And then I was kind of hooked. And, years later, I started my own business and clients were needing MailChimp help. And I was like, oh, yeah, I know the program. Uh, but really, it just started because I had heard the name.
yeah. So many people kind of like I've spoken to, whether it be clients or partners or whatever, they've got similar stories of they started playing around with it for themselves for whatever reason. The name was memorable, and then once they started using it, they realised how user friendly and intuitive it was, and they started doing more. And then they reached a point where, in many of them, kind of like, well, actually, what, I'm doing this so well, I actually might as well offer this as a specific service because I seem to, everyone keeps coming. So, my story, I got into it. Someone came to me and said, can you seem to know what you're doing. Can you help me? And then someone
Yeah.
else did, and someone else did. It's like, oh, hang on a minute. There's obviously something here that I haven't picked up. So, no,
Yeah.
we do it. So, on that basis, having a little bit of a Mailchimp loving, what's the thing that you love at the moment most about Mailchimp?
I love that question. First of all, obviously, I'm a huge fan of the platform. I could say little things about the platform that I love, but I'm going to kind of just switch it around a little bit and say that what I really love are the people that I've worked with at Mailchimp and the brand as a whole. I think that's what's always appealed to me. It is a brand that is fun, obviously, but very very just creative. Like you don't find that with the constant contacts of the world. Like
Yeah.
I'm a creative person, and I love that, you know, they focus on you know, creativity and small businesses, and uh, all their employees, like one of their core values of hiring is hiring humble employees. Like humbleness, they talk a lot about humbleness. I love that. So I love being able to work for a platform where I know behind it are really good people that are smart. I mean, everyone I've met that works there is incredibly smart and creative. Um, so I'm going to say that I just love the company.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I keep coming back to is that it's fun. And let's be
Yeah,
honest, if you've got a little chimp with a with a postman's hat on as
come
your
on.
company logo, you're already halfway there in terms of the brand personality and what it stands for. And I think,
Yeah,
you know, throughout all of the stuff that they've done for marketing, communication, there's that little wink, as it were, of the kind of like that. Look, we're not just the average corporate entity. We are someone that
exactly.
stands out. We're different, and I think
Misfits.
yeah, and that's something that appeals to a lot of, you know, kind of, I suppose,
Yeah.
for their target market, which obviously startup, small businesses. They
Yeah.
all want to be different. They all want to be seen to be different, and I think there's that brand that they've got really resonates with those people. It's not
Yeah.
stuffy. It's not corporate. It's not,
And
you know,
that's what I've always felt. I guess I feel like that's what how I am. You know, I worked in corporate jobs for 12 years in New York, and I was miserable, and it was actually a very difficult time in my life. You know, I was sitting in a cubicle wearing like a cardigan, and I was like, this is not me. Like I was depressed. I was like, I can't do this my whole life. What am I going to do? And so I think that's what's so appealing. It's like this is a brand that really just speaks to who I am as a creative person, and but yet it's smart and innovative, and they're always, you know, trying new things. So it's very much like how I feel about my life as well, which is crazy.
brilliant, brilliant. Right, okay. Well, we'd like to interrupt this podcast for a small. Actually, you know what? Mailchimp isn't good as we think it is. Section. No, no. Hey, look, we this is a Mailchimp Pro podcast. We love Mailchimp. We wouldn't be doing this if we didn't think that it was, you know, absolutely brilliant. But I always say, like any good relationship, at times there may be one or two things that you don't 100% appreciate or get on with, and you've obviously got to let the other person know that this needs to be, you know, something needs to be addressed. So what's the thing that currently kind of like, I wouldn't say hate, it's a very strong word. What's the thing that's really getting your goat, as it were, when it comes to Mailchimp at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, there always are little things that I find. You know, I work so much like in the platform when we're building emails that I'm always like, oh, I wish I could. You know, I wish I could do this. Like, I wish we could take, especially like in an email. Like, say you have a beautiful section in the middle of your email. I wish you could like save that section as a template and then pull it into future emails. I'm like, I have lots of little nitpicky things that I'm always like finding like, oh, why do I have to paste this hex code every single time? Like, can't I just save the brand colors like right here on the side? So nitpicky things. But I would say, you know, my clients often struggle that it's, you know, not a better CRM system. You know, Mailchimp now says we're all in an all-in-one platform. We have a CRM, and I have to explain to people, well, the CRM isn't like what you're probably envisioning. Um, you know, and they don't have to be. They don't have to be a great CRM, but that's one thing that I think it lacks.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. It's one of those things. I always say that they're not necessarily. They call themselves. I'll give them due credit. They do call themselves a marketing CRM, which obviously is different to a traditional CRM that we all know that we use to track our own interactions with clients and prospects and whatever.
Sales.
But it does, you know, yeah, for one of those things. Again, that's one of those things that people kind of like look at and go, "Can it?" And then you and me sit down with them and go, actually, you know what? It's good, but it's not there for that specific type of stuff. So, no, couldn't agree there. We can agree more. Okay, and then finally, before we disappear off from the kind of like the specifics of MailChimp,
Yeah.
One of the things I find is a lot of people have a number of misconceptions about MailChimp. Things
Mm.
that they think it can do that it can't, or more likely, they go, actually, you know what? I didn't know MailChimp could do that, or I didn't know that about MailChimp. What's one that you encounter regularly?
Yeah, I would say there are a lot of misconceptions. I think because of the name, people think, oh, it's just this like fun little, chimpy program that can send your emails. And I have to literally tell clients all the time, I say, you don't realize like big brands are using this program. It's actually a powerful program. They're using AI, data science. It is a powerful platform that can do a lot, and you can make a lot of money through this program. The return on investment is crazy. So I would say the biggest misconception is people thinking it's just some silly, free platform to send an email. Yeah. And people also just don't realize like the amount of stuff you can do. Like people don't realize you can send postcards. They don't realize you can do websites and landing pages. Like people never think of all those other things that you can do with the program.
Yeah, there is that general. I always kind of when people turn around to me and say, "So when do you think I need to kind of like when will I have grown out of Mailchimp?" And I respond, I was speaking to someone earlier this year who had a database in MailChimp of 8.5 million, and they're still using MailChimp. So you've got a fair amount of room before you get to that level.
Wow. I wonder what is the largest like client that Mailchimp has. Not
There's,
largest customer.
there's
That's
little,
crazy.
oh yeah, there'll be little nuggets that kind of like that we're really fascinating to actually find out. That kind of like I don't know
I mean,
whether
I know.
they're always relatively tight-lipped, aren't they, in terms of what they kind of like they do. They've got their annual surveys they give out at a bit, but yeah, there's lots of little things. Oh, I'd love to know that. Yeah, I think that's one of those.
Let's just say Beyonce uses Mailchimp. Let's just say that.
If it's good enough for the Queen of Pop, then what else can we
There you
say?
go.
Right. Okay. So let's expand a little bit now that we've got our Mailchimp kind of like our geeky Mailchimp love right out of the way, as it were.
Yes.
Because obviously, your Mailchimp is essentially a tool that the majority use. Although I know there's more to it, but most of us use it and start off using it in the email marketing arena. So if someone has come to you completely, they've just started a business, they've got a website, they've already set that up, they've got a brand and other bits and pieces, but they wanted to start with email marketing. What are the types of things that you might suggest to them of good steps that they should follow?
Yeah, so we actually do this a lot. We do have people come to us that have not used the program and that say, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where to start. And I often start with looking at their email list. Like we are going to have a very hard time marketing your platform or even creating a single email if you don't have an email list first. Or we'll have someone that comes with 100 subscribers, and I'm going to say, you know what, like I can't guarantee that we're going to make a ton of money with 100 subscribers. We need to grow your list. So I often start there. Like, let's talk about ways that we can really work on growing your list. You need to create an opt in for your website. You need to host a webinar, whatever it is. But let's start focusing on really growing that list as much as possible because it's going to help me out if the bigger your list is of subscribers. So we start there. We start with talking about their goals. I think you just have to always start with like, all right, what's your goal? Why are you coming to me to send emails? Do you know why? And a lot of people don't. They know that they have to. They're like, I have to send emails. It's part of marketing. But I'm like, but actually, like, do you want more sales? Do you want more leads? Do you just want to get people to your blog? What is it that you want to happen? What's your goal? So that's normally where I would start.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. It's something that I've now stolen from Adam Holden Bache, who I interviewed. I think interviewed him earlier this week, and he said you've always got to be ABCD.
Mm.
Always be capturing data.
Oh,
I know, I love that. Yeah, I told him I'd stolen it, and I'm now going to share it. That's just the philosophy for anyone who wants to succeed at email marketing is ABCD. Always be capturing data because you can't do it without that. And I like that. So there's one there's one for you.
thank you, Adam.
Yeah. So, and the other thing you mentioned, which I'd agree completely. Why? why are you doing email marketing? So many people say either I'm doing it because someone told me I should do it, or I'm doing it because I've seen someone else do it, or, well, isn't that just what everyone does?
Yeah,
And many times it's like, no, you need to be clear what purpose does email marketing serve in amongst all the activity, all the marketing activity that you do, and
exactly.
and then you can start going. Well, actually, you know what? We know whose the emails are going to. We know why we're doing it. Whether it's to grow sales, whether it's to build loyalty, build a relationship over time, whatever it is. If you're clear at the start of what your goals are, then suddenly you're starting to tailor the email marketing activity to those goals.
Exactly.
And yeah, and for those people who are starting out, I think that, make sure you're capturing data, because ultimately, if you've got that data, you'll always be able to use it down the track. But the key point I would say is know why you're doing it, because you go into it with the right mindset and you know what your goals are, you're more likely to do it. You're more likely to succeed. So, no, brilliant.
I had someone on a call the other day who's never really done much in Mailchimp, and she said, "Is this does this really work? This like email marketing thing? Does this work?" And I literally had to just like step back. And people ask that a lot, and I don't blame them. Like, does this work? Like, should I invest in this? Like, people aren't sure, and I have to say, listen, like, not only does it works amazingly if it's done well, and you know your audience, and you know all the good stuff. But it's just funny to me when people are like, does this email thing even do anything? I'm
Yeah,
like,
well,
yeah, it does.
it's like, to draw an analogy. It's when people go and say, I need to lose weight. Do you think running's going to lose weight? And it's like, well,
Exactly.
actually, you know what? If you do like half an hour run once a week, you're probably not going to lose any weight. But if you decide to
Mm.
do it and actually do it and do it the right way and plan it, then yes, you will lose weight. And it's the
I
same
think
with email
that
marketing.
analogy. I love that
It
analogy.
is.
I'm,
If
I'm
you
gonna
do
write
anything,
that down.
there you go. There you go. Yeah, I'm full of them. I was known in an earlier part of my life as Mister Analogy. I'd be able to come up with an analogy for
I
anything. So
love it. I love analogy. Actually, I just heard one about deliverability,
there we go.
comparing it to kind of like your credit score, saying like you know your credit score is a lot of different factors that make
Yep.
up your credit score, and it's like deliverability. It's not just one thing that's going to help. It's a lot of different factors.
Yeah.
So I love an
I,
analogy,
I,
Rob.
I if you want my deliverability analogy, gambling.
Oh, okay.
Gambling, you are never going to win or lose. And with deliverability, you can never guarantee that an email is going to go into the inbox, and you can never guarantee it's not going into the spam box. But what you can do is you can stack the odds in your favor by doing certain things the right way, like authenticating your domain, like not sending loads of emails to people who aren't opening, like not having too many links or having links that aren't true links in your email. There's lots of things in there, but there's no guarantees, just like gambling. But you know what? There is a way of stacking, things in your favor. And I think that's one of the things that people forget about deliverability is the fact that, I'm sure you get it. People come to you and go, how do I make sure, I've sent a load of emails and people are saying to me that it's going into their, promotional box or the spam folder. What can I do about it? And I go, well, unfortunately, that's just the nature of the beast nowadays. What you can do, though, is increase your chances of that not happening. And
Yes.
I use the gambling
Ooh,
analogy quite a lot
I
with people.
gonna
That's,
steal that one as
that's
well.
another one. Cool. Right. Okay. So we've talked about startups here. What about those people who are a little bit more advanced? So they've been doing email marketing for a while. So say a client that you're working with. So they've got a regular newsletter going out. They've got a welcome automation in there. They're capturing data, kind of like on a reasonable level. But they come to you and go, you know what? I can see a huge opportunity here to take things to the next level. What would you say to those people? How can they take their email marketing to the next level?
Yeah. So I think at that point it's important to kind of do an audit, an email audit. So going into their account, literally going into their account and seeing what's going on. Like really looking hard, looking at that click map in MailChimp. What are people clicking on? What are they not clicking on? Looking at their design, looking at their subject lines, exporting a report, a CSV report of like just all their emails and really taking a hard look at the data to see what's going on. There is so much you can do once you really start looking at looking at things, looking at the A/B testing results. Like if you're going to do A/B testing, I see so many people that do A/B testing and then they just don't look at the results. Like really look at those results and try to make some conclusions about what's happening. Um, so I would say you really start by looking at what they're currently doing and then saying, okay, where do we want to go? Do we need more sales? Then let's maybe look at a different email design. Let's start testing two different designs. Maybe we do a plain text email and an HTML email, and let's start testing those and see what people are going to click on more. Testing can really start to tell you a lot.
Yeah, it's shocking actually how few people are using things like the A/B test in MailChimp. I mean, I'll be honest. From the emails that I send to my list, and I know you send you're like me. You've got that regular communication going out. I went through a period where I wasn't testing, but then I actually, just to give you an example, I started testing two different subject lines. And I've seen people do this in the past, and it's like they've changed one word in the subject line. It's like, well, you're not going to get a difference there. So I kind of said, right, well, because obviously a lot of my emails about how to get more from MailChimp, I actually split tested between a fact-based, i.e. increase your open rates by doing this, or a curiosity-based one saying, kind of like, I think, what was it? What goats and pigs and ducks have got to do with your open rates? Okay. Just now, kind of like, the fact of the matter is that for my audience, they bought into the fact-based one. They didn't want to work too hard to kind of get to the actual data. They were like, look, if you're going to tell me about deliverability, tell me about deliverability. Don't try and be clever and, and witty Cute, and imaginative. Just give me the facts.
But now you know that.
Exactly.
That's so interesting.
And there's so many businesses out there who don't take advantage of the A/B testing in MailChimp. Kind of I can think of several clients that I've got that haven't done it, even though we've had conversations about doing it, and just using it as an opportunity to learn about your audience and learn what gets them interested and what they're not interested in, because that's how you improve. That's how you get better. Just to test and learn.
ABCD.
Definitely. Cool. Right. Okay. So let's drill down a little bit into your area of expertise now. Let's get into a little bit about email design. All right. Yeah. Okay. So if I was to come to you and go, right, what are the things? Give me a number of things that I should or shouldn't be doing when it comes to the design of my emails. What are the things that you look at when you see an email design and go, oh, why are they doing that? And what are the ones that you go, that's brilliant, I like that?
Yeah. So, I mean, we can talk really high level about it or really drill down to specifics. So I'll give one of each.
Spread between the two.
Yeah. So high level, things just need to be simplified. The reason people always say, I just don't have time to create emails, it's so much work, it's because they're doing too much. And email really, it shouldn't take you crazy amounts of time. If you start to look at brands and what they're doing, sometimes it's just an image, a little bit of text, and a button. And obviously your logo at the top. 4 elements, super easy. So I always say simplifying your email design, simplifying your newsletters. The days of these long newsletters are, in my opinion, over. So people don't have time. They have 13 seconds. People spend 13 seconds to skim an email. So strip away. And then, something more specific, I would say, is just increasing the amount of white space in your email. The amount of emails I see where things are just crunched up together, the button is right by the image, you need more space. Things need room to breathe, and you want to look at it and it be so easy to read and to see things. So I'm always telling people to pull in more. What I usually do is pull in a divider line and then remove the line. Just click remove.
Yep.
And you can adjust the sizing of it, if you want 40/40 padding or 2x2 padding. But pull in some white space, press enter a few times after some text, white space is your friend. So
Love it.
That would be 2 tips.
Okay. And what about, let's do something that's always kind of people tend to forget. And it's something that I always find very curious. I've said this several times. The majority of emails nowadays are opened on a mobile phone.
This
And
is
yet
true.
we spend all of our times in the MailChimp database and in MailChimp program designing emails on a desktop.
Yeah.
And yet, it's one of those things I've always had a little bit. Well, surely at some point in the future, you should actually be designing the email with mobile on a mobile design, and then seeing if it works in desktop. Now, I know you can look at this. You can look at the audience statistics in MailChimp and actually see whether more people are opening on desktop or mobile or whatever. And if you don't know, if you haven't done that, I would really recommend that you go and do that. Go to your audience tab in MailChimp, and then you should be next to in the drop down on the top right hand corner of MailChimp. If you click on that, you should be able to click view all audiences, and then next to each of those audiences, you'll be able to look at the audience statistics. And in the audience statistics, it will tell you about your audience and give you that split between desktop and mobile. And for a lot of, for B2B businesses, probably your and my emails that go out, they're slightly probably airing more on desktop than mobile. Whereas if you're dealing with a consumer brand, kind of like a beverage brand like you've got, most of their emails will be being opened on a mobile phone. So how do you, when you're thinking about, email design, take into account the mobile phone element that is so important nowadays?
Yeah, it is so important. It's so important. I think, doing mobile previews and what we do on our team is we'll send previews there's three of us, and each of us, we have different phones. My sister has an Android, I have iPhone, and we'll each look at it on our phones and let each other know, what we need to fix. But what's really cool is MailChimp has this inbox preview feature that you can actually look on different devices to see. And we actually use that a lot. So you can look at how your email looks on iPhone 11, and you can look at how it looks on iPhone 5, and you can look at Android. So it's really cool, but you have to design for mobile. And one thing I've learned recently is to really stay with one column if you can. Um, yeah, like two columns are great. I love two column like sections, but they don't always work great on mobile. So sometimes just having a simple one column layout is going to be the best. And apparently it affects deliverability too. I heard this in an email design talk recently. Having columns could affect deliverability for
Wow.
some reason. So one column layout just makes things easier.
No, you're preaching to the converted on that one. I'm a huge fan of In fact, when I receive an email nowadays that isn't single column, it's 2 or 3 column, I am very tempted to reply back to them and then say, why are you doing this? Because I just think, most emails, the ones that are most effective, they're good email, a short email doesn't need to have 2 columns. And even a longer email, you're taking people on a journey. There's like any story, there's the beginning, there's the middle, there's the end, as it were. And when you're creating your email design, the more it flows naturally through. And my view is that if you've got sidebars and other bits and pieces in emails, what you're actually doing is you're detracting from the core message that you're trying to get across.
The sidebar. Oh my gosh. Yes. No sidebars, people.
Yeah. I think when anyone comes into the MailChimp Answers Facebook group and says, can you tell me how I can do a 3-column template or whatever? Because I can't find it. It's kind of like you want to just go to them and shake them and go, stop. What do you think what you're saying?
Yeah, and what's interesting in MailChimp, when you get to the section that says choose template, I pretty much always choose the basic.
Yep, me too.
Template. And I tell people, I'm like, yes, it says basic, but you can do a lot with that. Like you can do a lot. I like the full width templates as well for some things, but I love me a basic template.
Yeah, because like you say, if you get the right design elements in it, if you get the right images, the logo, the fonts, the colors, the footer, everything that it works together, that's what good design is. Fundamentally, what is good design? Good design is a design that generates the action that you want people to take.
Exactly. And what's cool at Symposium, I'm going to show you some amazing email examples that are from well-known brands, and they are using that like one column basic layout.
Cool. Look forward to that. That's going to be good. Brilliant. So I hope you guys found that little insight into the design side of things really interesting. As I said, Emily is going to be one of our featured speakers. She'll be talking about email design And that little 2 or 3 minute nuggets that we had there, kind of like we're going to, 10 times the size. So 45 minutes of everything you need to know about good email design. That's what you're going to get when Emily's talking at Chimposium. So really something to look forward to. Right. One question I like asking. What do you think is the single thing that separates those people who are really good at email marketing from those that are like, meh, they're not bad, as it were? What's that one thing that separates the great from the average?
Ooh, I love that. Well, I think there's several things.
You're only allowed to
I
pick
think,
one. You got to focus. You can choose. You got to choose one. I'll give you. You can mention a couple of them, but you got to pick one. What's you going to stick your hat
yeah.
on?
Well, I think we'll go back to the ABCD. I think it's the people that are really looking at the data. Like, yes, you can create emails, you can do email marketing for clients, but if you are not actually looking at the numbers after emails, after every email, you're it's not going to tell you much. So the people that are great look at those things and then adjust. And I'm always telling clients, like, when we start, as and you're a brand new client, like, it may take a few months because we are going to have to look at the data that's coming in and then make adjustments, change, decide that subject line's not working, and finding that send time. It may take a few times to find the send times are not working or they are working. So I think the great people really know how to interpret the data.
Yeah, that's that. I like that. The thing is, for this, there's no right or wrong answer in terms of this. It's all opinions, but quite a few people have gone to data, whether it's data in terms of segmentation or data in terms of feedback loops and improvement. Yeah, those people who are succeeding at email marketing are actually thinking about it and trying something and going, right, what can I learn that's going to feed back the next time? And that comes from the data. So, no,
And
brilliant.
also, and that makes me think, like, not being afraid to try things. Like, I often tell clients, like, can we try just emailing the people that did click on that? Like, let's just try it. And I'm often saying that, like, let's try it and see what happens. You have to be willing to try things. Maybe it won't work, maybe it will, but you really don't know sometimes until you actually try.
I'm actually going to pick on that. That's a really interesting point. Like, as soon as you said that, my brain started thinking about it, and I think there is a lot of people who've got a misconception of, I can't send too many emails. I'm going to burn my list out. I'm going to I'm going to get on their nerves. They're going to get massive unsubscribes. And yet, the fact of the matter is that that's not always true, and in many instances, actually completely false. And like you
Yeah.
said, the example of, well, why don't we try this? And they may turn around and go, oh, but that means I'm sending another email. And my response is, yeah, but if that email's good, if it's got value, if it's interesting and it's relevant to the person that you're sending it to, they'll actually like it. They'll be happy to receive it because there's some good stuff in it. And I think at times people go, oh, I can't send this many emails. And I always go, well, you can if they're good. If you
Yeah.
send good emails, I could send, if I sent an email to my database every day and that email was absolutely brilliant, people wouldn't care. They'd be reading it. They wouldn't be unsubscribing. It's when people send emails that are ill thought through or don't have any value or aren't relevant to the people, they're the ones who are going to struggle in sending multiple numbers of emails. So, yeah, so guys, don't be scared to try something new, to test something, to learn something. Because, yeah, all right, you may get one or two extra unsubscribes if you do send that second email. But you know what? You might learn a hell of a lot more, and it's worth it to get that, worth the down to get the up. So, no, brilliant.
Yeah, especially, we have an e-commerce client and they want to send one email a week, and their emails make money. They make great money. And I'm like, if you're making money, then we need to send another one because you will make more money. So let's try sending two because you will make additional money. More
Yeah, yeah,
money.
exactly. Yeah, it's not rocket science when you come down to it.
It's not. That's the thing.
No, love it. Right, okay. Quick fire round. Totally unrelated to anything at all.
I love a quick fire.
Right, favorite food?
Tacos, always.
Well, you've
Tacos.
sorry. There's been a running theme of people saying pizza. And of course, then I spoke to Alessandra in Italy, and she didn't say pizza. I was going, of all the people who could have said pizza, some from Italy.
Uh,
So she was
uh,
going, oh, no, no, no. She
I
did
want a
like that.
taco. Yes, please.
Excellent. All right, okay. Favorite film?
Oh, you've got mail.
Oh, that's.
You know what's funny?
I really should kind of like now, kind of like put a ban on this and just stop it. That pun was atrocious.
But here's the thing. I actually love that movie, and I loved it when I was in college before I ever even thought about email marketing. Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks. And the movie takes place in New York City, and it actually made me want to move to New York so bad. I actually genuinely like love that movie. It may be a little bit about email, but we won't. Yeah.
I'm a sleepless in Seattle person, but then that's because I've always wanted to. I had to go to. I wanted to go and see. Always wanted to go to Seattle, so which I
Any
did.
Meg Ryan
So.
movie. Any Meg Ryan movie.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, let's not get onto there when Harry Met Sally because I'll be here for an hour talking about that. Love that film. Cool. Favorite music?
Jazz. Old jazz, like Ella
How old are we
Fitzgerald.
talking? Talking 20s,
So
30s?
yeah, so I love like Ella Fitzgerald, Lena Horne, like all the greats. Like I'll turn on Miles Davis and just let that play when I'm cooking dinner. I'm like old school. I love
Nice.
jazz. Yeah.
Nice. Favorite TV comedy program?
I don't watch TV because I have 3 children, but favorite comedy. I mean, I love The Office. We watch The Office a lot. You can't beat that,
True,
right?
true. I always preferred the American version to the English version
Oh,
anyway.
oh yes,
Yeah,
yes. Steve Carell. Yeah.
definitely, definitely. Mac or PC?
So, I mean, always Mac, but my Macs are all broken. I have 2 Macs and they're broken, so I'm currently on a PC, and I don't mind it. I don't mind it.
Blasphemy. Absolute blasphemy. You're going to be thrown out of the MailChimp Partner Club because every other partner I've spoken to has gone straight in and said Mac.
Really? Yeah. I mean, for design, it's Mac for sure.
Good, good, good. What's the best website tool that you know that is good for capturing data and pushing it to MailChimp?
Oh, capturing data. Well, what kind of data are we capturing?
WordPress. So a WordPress form. How would you get a form in WordPress?
That's a great idea. Like plugin. What plugin do you like?
Yeah, could be, could be.
I mean, I love WP Forms. I love Opt-in Monster. There's so many. There's so many. I can't even think. Pop-up Alley is like a free pop-up thing in WordPress, and it's really really simple and easy. Connects well.
That's what
Yeah.
people. There's some good stuff there. And this is the thing is that there is no right or again no right or wrong answer. You know,
Sumo.
I've used Sumo, used Gravity Forms, Yikes
Yeah.
Easy Forms. There's so many there, but it's always trying to find the perfect one. I've often said if someone turned around and created, here's an idea for any developers out there. If you created a form which was the ultimate MailChimp WordPress form tool and call it that, you would make an absolute mint because
Yeah.
that would answer so many business problems because they're all trying to do something different and they're all trying to deal with other tools as well. So it's not just got to work with MailChimp, it's got to work with Constant Contact or Salesforce or Active Campaign. No, just one that works for MailChimp, does exactly what we want. Every MailChimp partner out there would be banging on your door for that. So there you go, developers. If you're listening to this, there's a goal for you.
I'm liking this. Yeah.
Cool. Right. What else was there? My brain's gone blank. I've run out. There's usually a couple of.
Those were good rapid fire.
How's it?
I
What do you
mean,
do? What do you do to relax? What's your Zen relax time? I mean, you've got 3 kids, and obviously one of them's very, 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 very young.
yes. Well, sad but true. My hobby is like Instagram and TikTok these days. So I would say sitting and scrolling my phone is what I love to do. Like late at night, instead of watching TV, I look at social media, and I love it. I genuinely like, it's kind of a creative outlet for me. Instagram is very much creative outlet. I post on stories a lot, and it's just fun for me. Like last night I was posting just tons of musicians, like cover songs from different musicians, and it's like so fun. That's what I love.
Speaking to someone who hasn't even got an Instagram account, so I know. Yeah,
Do it today. Sign up. Come on.
I'm trying to find the time. There's so many things to do, so little time. What can I
hear
say?
you.
Cool. Right. Okay. So that's hopefully given people a little bit of insight into who Emily is and what she's about, and given some context to some of the things that we talked about previously. Right. Before we finish, giving you a chance to get on your soapbox. This is an opportunity to give to everyone I speak to. We've all got those subjects in email marketing or with MailChimp that are just like, kind of like they're red rag to a bull. They're the ones that you hear and you go, oh, I can't believe that you're there. And you get, like, for example, for me, people come to me and try and persuade me that having more than one in their audience in MailChimp is justified. For me, that's like, and I just get on my soapbox, and 3 minutes later they're going, all right, I get the idea. So what do you want to get on your soapbox and have a rant about when it comes to this delightful world that we operate in?
I mean, I have multiple boxes of soap here, but one thing I just find myself saying over and over and over is, please do not purchase email lists, because it's just going to hurt you in the long run. I cannot tell you the amount of people that come to us and say, we found you in the directory and we want to import this list of 90,000 contacts. Can you help us? And I got to get on my soapbox and explain to them why we cannot do that. We cannot do that. And it's not just about that obviously there are spam laws, and, MailChimp is very much against importing purchase lists. There's a much bigger issue here. You send an email to 90,000 people who didn't want it, and it's going to cause a lot of problems. People are going to unsubscribe. Emails are going to bounce, and then your account gets flagged, and then I have to contact compliance, and there are just all these things. Build your list the correct way. And yes, it's hard. Yes, you may only have 500 subscribers instead of 90,000. That's okay. There are other ways. I would rather you have 500 people who want your emails than 90,000 people who do not want your emails. So let's just start from scratch, build your list the compliant way, the correct way. And stop buying lists. Just stop.
And a brilliant message to end everything off. Yep. couldn't agree more. It's better to have people on your audience who are engaged. I always say it's better to have an audience of 500 where all of them opening than an audience of 5,000 where you're getting 0.1% opening because none of them even know who you are because you bought the list. So don't buy.
Hard to explain that to people. Yeah.
Definitely. Good. Brilliant. Thanks so much for your time today, Emily. This has been absolutely fantastic. For those out there who want to get in touch with Emily because your email design sucks and she can actually make it perfect, how can people get hold of you? Obviously on Instagram. So where can we get hold of you?
And thank you, Robin, for having me. This is such a treat for my morning. On Instagram for sure, Emily Ryan likes your photo on Instagram. And our website is Westfield, Westfield. It's the street that I grew up on, actually. Westfield-creative.com. So that is our website. So feel free.
Definitely. Excellent. Yeah. And I definitely recommend that if you're not on it at the moment, go to the Westfield Creative website and sign up to Emily's emails, because every Sunday they come through and they're every Monday morning when I wake up, there are little rays of positivity in my inbox. Always have a look at them. They're brilliant.
I'm about to send one about our Chimposium.
Yeah, brilliant. Brilliant. Right. Thanks so much for your time. Really enjoyed this conversation. It was really good. We covered a lot of really good ground, and hopefully people can listen to this and get a little bit of an insight into what makes an email look good and what makes an email look bad, as it were. So that was brilliant. So thanks very much, Emily. I'll speak to you very soon indeed.
Thank you. This was so fun.
Thanks for listening. And if you found this podcast really helpful, then here's what you can do next to broaden your understanding of MailChimp. You can join our free Facebook group. It's the biggest MailChimp support group in the world. Just search MailChimp Answers on Facebook. You can take our free MailChimp Medical to find out the health of your MailChimp account and what you can do to improve it. Just visit chimpanswers.com and follow the prompts. And of course, you can get in touch with us. If you like one-to-one support, advice, tips, or whatever, just visit chimpanswers.com, which also has got one of the largest resources of MailChimp blogs and advice available out there to get the information that you need. Thanks again, and we'll see you very soon.